Okay, we're going to wrap this up. This is video number 3. We're going to talk a little bit about application, because that's what it's about, application. Not about complex issues, it's about application. Some of the regulatory things that people have to contend with are they're conditional items. They do not always apply. You have to know what they apply to and how they apply. That is not a difficult thing. However, the homeowner in this country is the one bearing the brunt of all of this problem. The business owner pays based on a loss of industry because there's no money floating for them to do anything. So you have to come up with some things that help to generate both ends. As I said before, there is a physical concept and then there's the financial concept. You cannot separate the difference between the two. They are hand in hand and they compound together. So why would a client buy anything from you or listen to you if you're just going to repeat to them what they've already heard over 1,000 times? That is not what you want to do. You're interested in doing one thing, having a job and making a profitable, excuse me. And you want to be able to be successful. Success is not a difficult thing. A lot of the times people falter because of somebody else's comment that they take wrong and they take it personally. This isn't personal. This is business. Business doesn't care about personal. It does, but you have to have a limitation for that. Okay? You cannot always be Mr. Nice Guy. Sometimes you're going to confront issues, and that's something you have to be prepared for in a very orderly, business-like fashion. So, some of the things we're going to discuss from the summary of the first 2 videos have very big applications. Number 1 is the money. The money it has to be available for them. They don't know how to convert some of the stuff they already have to make it more efficient, to do more, to be more profitable, to cost them less operating expenses, and to give them a better comfort zone. Some of the things in the industry today are variations of the same thing over and over and over again. Okay? I mean, I've been in businesses and in buildings where, you know, the meters are on the first floor, but all of the heavy equipment is on the roof. When the CFO has to pay the bill, he doesn't understand what the line loss factor is. He doesn't understand that he could co-generate from that. He doesn't know any of that. His engineer goes to him and talks to him about buying things that would increase their profitability. That's the engineer's job. He has to look for that if he wants to maintain his income. Okay, he has a job like anybody else. But where the engineering stops is where we start. Because a lot of the engineers that I have available to me, I've talked with for many, many years, and I've dealt with them for many, many years. And a lot of my colleagues, I've actually had to redo some of their houses and show them things for themselves. You know, it seems to be an everyday problem that keeps reoccurring because people just don't know the difference. You know, they teach the same thing over and over and over again in school. Exponential calculations are very simple to do, but they are presented to people like they are some erroneous mastermind genius. Okay? They can get complicated, but you're dealing with a normal person. If you can figure out how to take the complex process and simplify it for people to comprehend and to understand and to make use of, and you show them how easy it is to use, that's what your objection is. Okay? All right. if you explain the dollars and cents, which is what they want to pay attention to, even the engineers, because it's all dollars and cents business, it can be very tremendous for you and for the company. These particular systems, even though they're scale models, I've built them on larger scales. I mean, I've showed clients how to do dynamo systems, how to do magneto systems, how to do isolated ground systems, how to infuse a solar system for an indoor use as opposed to an outside use where you have to wait for sunlight. These are all systems that go along with what is referred to as the renewable energy problem. We have an opportunity in this country, along with a lot of others, okay, that we can be more competitive, more productive, and live a better life. The bottom line is that's what it's about. The average client that I've surveyed doesn't realize where the problems are because the persons who are making the decisions, and they're used to doing that, are the accountants and the CFOs, because the engineers haven't been able to accomplish a method to show them what the physical process is and how it relates to a more effective financial process. A lot of the return on investment analysis sheets that I've had to look at don't refer to net calculations, they always refer to gross calculations. Okay? And if you do that, then you're already off by 30%. And when the client, 6 months after he purchases your equipment, he sees that your calculations are so far off, it doesn't look good for you. You can't do that. Okay? And that's some of the things you have to pay attention to. You know, the bottom line is this. You know, we can prove everything with technical equipment. That doesn't mean that the client understands that. I've done that many, many times, okay? And I've been frustrated with it personally and professionally. Because that's not what they want to hear. They want to hear what can be done, or what are they doing that they could make a change with that doesn't affect or overall or wipe out half of their industry. Well, that's the point. The average person, if they're making, say, $30,000 a year, and I'm only using an arbitrary number, that amount of money isn't large, okay, but it's a lot to some people. So you have to adjust what you do to circumstance and condition. And you have to show them that it's easier to accomplish this rather than to stand there and argue and have a debate. Because everybody seems to want to have an opinion to be able to debate. This isn't something that you vote on. You either have it or you don't. Or you can get it or you can't. So, there's only so far and so much you can do with a computer system. A computer system is a wonderful thing, and it's a very useful device, and it can help a lot. But it doesn't physically build the devices. It takes the engineering to do that. You have to be able to put the pieces together to build the system, and if you want to have it computerized, that's up to you. However, some of the things that I've done on simple things, you know, I've built small devices for people to see and to play with, but I did that for myself. I did that because I needed to see what the reactions were, or what kind of conversations were brought up by me doing that, because it was important. It's like doing a different type of data analysis where you can see the reactions and the perceptions of people. And they are far and wide, because everybody's got a different concept. And that's good. However, when it comes down to the cost factors, that's not always good. You know, with the amount of information that's out there, it's very easy to get confused. some of the things that I've done are so far ahead of the curve that a lot of my own colleagues will look at me and say, "How did you figure that out?" Well, excuse me, but you know, I was professionally trained and I do have the field experience. And the bottom line is, I'm always looking for application. It's not necessary to look for anything more than that. If you focus your attention on application and you follow some simple guidelines, you will find that it's so simple to do, and it's not a difficult thing to accomplish for a client, and it makes it easier to understand for everyone. The whole business of energy itself is the driving force with the money aspect that's making a lot of problems for a lot of people. Okay, there are people that can't afford to heat their houses, they can't afford to do things. You know, all of those problems cause health issues and so on and so forth, and I'm sure you understand that. But it's important for me to say it to you now as a part of what this is, because they're suffering needlessly because of somebody's shortcut or playing baseball and shortstop with their funding, or they're not familiar with it because somebody forgot to show them how to do simple calculations. You know, it is a numbers industry, like any industry. It's all based on numbers. And when the clientele has never been introduced to how compound factors are bi-directional, or they work against you, okay, the concept of the magic of compound interest is used to sell on a positive end, but you didn't understand that that positive end is also a negative if you're not aware of it. You know, if you lose 5% of $30,000 a year, you're talking about making sure that this person never gets ahead. There's no possible way they're going to do that. There's no incentive there. You've destroyed that whole analogy. You know, you can't just come up with some kind of an economic demographic to be able to explain that. You know, people are a little bit more than demographics. You know, unfortunately, those who understand this thrive. Because once you have the money, buying the technology or making use of the technology isn't the problem, because now it becomes a write-off. Okay? It's just something that you do. Okay? But it's because they took the time to learn the number process. They understand that when they hear the news on the economics, that it's not always exactly how things happen. That's just general conversation for the media. And the media isn't wrong. It's not a business of right or wrong. They're trying to present facts that are being published for them to be able to do that. The issue of how to do technology, because everything is technical in life, believe it or not, is very simple. You know, a stove is a stove is a stove. It could be from many other people. You know, it could have other features on it, but it's depending on what you do and what you like. Okay, the bottom line is it's still a stove. Okay, no matter what you do, it's still going to be a stove. It's like your heater air conditioner system. It's still going to be a heater and air conditioning system. Most people, I would say a large percentage of some of the homeowners that I surveyed didn't even know that there was a filter in there that needed to be changed. That's the kind of thing you're dealing with. Okay, and you can't bring it up to them like it's an oversight. You have to bring it up as a discovery. You can't threaten them with information that they don't know. You have to show them. It takes very little bit of time to do that. Okay? I'm not an advocate for trying to help everybody, because there are certain people out there that no matter what you do, you're not going to help them. Okay? They are self-destructive. But you have to know how to spend your time with that. You know, when I did the magnetic patent, people understood it to a point, but they wanted to tell me how they wanted to put it to use. And that wasn't the purpose of it. The patent was very arduous to do and very time consuming and very expensive. I had the help of three very, very professional attorneys to do that. Okay? The issue is, I needed to know for sure what this was about. Why all of these people who said that you couldn't build a magnetic motor, what made them right or wrong? Or why wasn't that a fact? It wasn't the point that I was trying to build a magnetic motor, although I was able to accomplish one, but it wouldn't run steady, okay? So therefore I didn't submit it, okay? I'm still working on it, and I've figured it out, but that's another addendum to the patent. However, the issue is this. It's about magnetic radiation. It's not always the same. Radiation from an electrical motor isn't the same as radiation from a permanent magnet. That was one big difference. I had to prove that. Then I had to figure out the speed of it with different circumstances and different magnetic materials and different conditions. That was a very arduous task. Okay? But that didn't mean anything to anybody but me. The issue is real simple. You don't need to know that. You don't want to know that. You want to know how you can apply these things and how it works. If you don't explain the money to these people and show them that most of the time they're self-defeating themselves, if you don't show that because somebody is lackadaisical in the engineering business or in the educational industry that didn't show you how effective this was or how easy it was, okay, they gave you long, complicated formulas to work with, then, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. You know, the difference between economics, what goes on is when they keep the education level low, the profitability stays high for a select few. What happens at that point is more people get sick quicker, so more investment goes into the pharmaceutical industries, into all of those healthcare industries. Healthcare costs go up, and so on and so forth. It's really a simple matter. You know, that's what you're up against. So as prices keep escalating and the job market stays low, even though they're bringing more people in on the economic scale for jobs over the last 3 months, what kind of jobs did they get? What was their average salary? Because salaries have been reduced, benefits have been reduced, so on and so forth. Well, what does that do for you? That's the issue, okay? You know, that's an endless issue that you can discuss with any kind of politician, any kind of attorney, because they always have answers. Well, I can tell you point blank, most of them have answers that are pertaining to their education, but they don't have the answers when it comes to this. The engineering is there, not just from what I do, but from all over the place. Most of the engineering that is needed to create all of this new innovation is already there. You just didn't know it because it's not available in a store for you to see. Okay? The stores are interested in keeping prices at their point, and the materials on the shelves that they know people will buy, and if they buy one thing, they may need a new window or a new door or something like that. Okay, well, that's all well and fine, but the HVAC industry in itself hasn't really changed much in the last 50 years. There are so many things that can be improved that are more effective than you can imagine, that you're not ever brought into mind, because their argument is the fact that if we did that and we made that efficient, we'd put ourselves out of work. Well, that's not the point. You know, I think they've done a great job at building tons of materials that are maintenance free, and now everything is so maintenance free for these people that, and all of the housing buildings and all of the developers have actually wound up putting themselves out of business on the physical end. They never put themselves out of business on the financial end. That's the most important part. Those are all leverage factors. So basically, I'm showing you some things that you could see. However, I have a whole lot more available, and it's up to you. So if you need us, call us. Okay. If you want to do more, let me know. So thank you very much.